The sound. The sound is at the same time the best and the worst thing about the Mega Drive Mini 2. We now have the option here to switch between Model 1 and Model 2 audio. Now, speaking of the old models, while the console is the same between Model 1 and 2, some internal differences have been known to cause usually lesser audio on the Model 2 quality-wise. This all still depends on the different revision from my experience of the particular board you got in your Mega Drive, but long story short, this is a pretty kick-ass option here to have on this thing, and it makes me wonder if they went through the trouble of setting this up. How good is the audio quality? How good is the audio emulation? It's the best. Now, it's easy to underestimate this if you don't wake up in the morning having a raging boner about FM synthesis, Yamaha sound chips and Mega Drive music, but there is a game on this Mega Drive Mini 2 that while watching it on Twitch streams personally, I can always tell within a few seconds whether it's emulated or from real hardware, and that game is Phantasy Star 2. Don't get me wrong, emulation rules and I have absolutely nothing against it, but this is just the one game that has always shown me how hard it is to emulate Mega Drive audio properly. In different collections or emulations, the beautiful and incredible variety of sound effects in Phantasy Star 2 always sounds a little off, a little different. We're talking about a video game where the two people that worked on the sound effects then married each other. Now, this is my dearest video game. My first YouTube video is about it even, so obviously I am biased. But it's just always been this nice frame of reference to me, so I hope this can help you understand why I think the Mega Drive Mini 2 has the best audio emulation to date. So far, so good. However, a disastrous audio issue with the Mega Drive Mini 2 was brought to my attention by my community. Sebmal on Twitter here shared this about Ristar. Now, Ristar isn't present in my Japanese version of the unit, so I'm gonna take his recording from the Mega Drive Mini 2 and compare it to my own actual Mega Drive. Listen to this. In essence, what's happening here is that the Mega Drive Mini 2 is playing the PCM, in other words, the voice samples in this case, at a lower speed than it should be, resulting in a lower pitch, which is very weird. Now, does the Mega Drive Mini 2 mismanage the PCM playback in old games? I've picked a few PCM heavy games to find out. Here's Bonanza Bros. Here's Ichidan Toaru. And here's Ahari Manada, the most sample-heavy game in here. These are all fine, so the restart problem appears to be an isolated case. Hey, let me know what you think about the audio in the comments, will ya? Now, at the same time though, there is a big audio delay on the entire unit. This was a problem with the Mega Drive Mini 1 as well, and now it's a problem with the Mega Drive Mini 2. Frankly, this is the biggest problem by far. Now, we've talked about sound. Let's briefly mention two things about the video. First off, the black levels. They're not the best. You could fiddle with the TV settings to achieve what's something closer to true blacks over here. It's nothing atrocious, but you can tell the difference yourself. Look at this. See that? Secondly, the Mega Drive Mini 2 does not give you a 4:3 aspect ratio, but rather It outputs the Mega Drive's own resolution. Now you can see this in the black bars. You will notice at the top and the bottom. So why didn't they upscale it further like this, so that the game's image would touch the top sides of the screen? That probably has to do with integer scaling, so it looks like that to maintain the best image while having sharp pixels. Now, this is not necessarily a flaw, just something I wanted to point at. Although I do tend to stretch everything to 4:3 on my channels, as that was the consumer TV's standard aspect ratio that it would ultimately land and stretch to. Problems like integer scaling and the like were just simply not problems on CRT TVs. Now, in conclusion, let's not forget that this is still an excellent and very convenient unit for its price. I'm not even the target audience for this, as I have already an unnecessarily expensive real hardware setup to stream and stuff like that. Yet my Mega Drive Mini 2 here is probably still gonna sit nice and comfy in my living room for like the occasional co-op match on the big screen. To learn more about the Mega Drive Mini 2 library, watch this video next. Ciao!